Welcome back to another episode of the DRN podcast. I am your host, Dustin, and today I have my co-host, Angel, with me.
Hey.
So today we are going to actually speak about something very difficult, even for both of us. And it's all about abuse in relationships. And we're going to speak about everything from physical, mental, and emotional exploitation and verbal abuse. So let's just kind of get into this. So first off, let's start with, I guess, one of my most important one that I've struggled with in relationships is mental and emotional abuse. What are your thoughts on those?
Mental and emotional sometimes can be harder than the physical because the scars themselves, they disappear for physical, but emotional, they stick with you for a long, long time.
I agree. Yeah. A lot of the abuse I went through involved a lot of manipulation, involved a lot of verbal altercations, and mostly the mental and emotional abuse, especially the silent treatment that people don't realize is actually emotional abuse. It's, it can really drain you. And I've noticed that, especially for someone that already has severe mental health issues, it can cause more suicidal effects on that because you are putting everything into a basket with someone that you truly love, and they're just destroying you from the inside out. So, what can you tell me about your experiences with mental and emotional abuse?
So just this past year, when I was with my ex-fiance, who shall not be named because I do not talk about him or talk to him, he was cheating on me. And someone on Instagram had sent me screenshots of proof and had sent me a long message about how it was his girlfriend who was helping my ex cheat on me. And I have a personality disorder on a spectrum, and I'm bipolar. So he used those against me very badly and made me feel like I was insane for 3 straight days until he finally admitted it to my own mother that he was actually cheating on me.
Wow, that's rough. I've had that too, where I would have severe anxiety for no reason during the nights, especially when I was at work. And first thing that's going through my head is my girlfriend's cheating on me. My wife is cheating on me, or someone. And they made me feel like I was going crazy, like I was the one that had the issue until, it all come out to where they actually were cheating on me the whole time. But it's that they don't want to admit that. So they sit there and make you out to be the bad guy when they're the ones doing it. Or on the opposite side is where they're making accusations that you're cheating while they're actually doing it. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, Zach was doing that to me. He told me that I was cheating on him. He would be able to go through my phone, when it turns out I used his phone one time to try to call my mom to get a charger from her because my charger went kaput and stopped working. And he left it open on this app, and it was like a role-playing app, I guess. But instead of it being with like AI characters, it was with real people. And he was cheating on me that way, sending this girl pictures, sending her just about everything but money because I was the one making the money at the time.
Ridiculous. Yeah, one of my exes from college, so she was really good at lying. Really good at playing me. So I actually had a metal show that I went to. I was actually playing. She came with and everything with my friends. I invited my friends out. And afterwards, we grabbed all the alcohol and went home with it all. And, I was at the dorm, so that's where I was living at that time. And she, I guess, got with one of my good friends. My good friends want to tell me, but, as a typical young idiot guy, I tried to vouch for her and blame him and was mad at him when it wasn't even his fault. And then after that, it was only after that when I found out the truth, because she tried to make me out to be crazy and I'm paranoid. And so we were together maybe a month longer or so, and I got vaccinated for the flu shot that year, the first time ever, and I ended up having a bad reaction to it. So I had to go to the hospital because I stopped breathing. Well, when I came back, I was kind of like in like this kind of paralyzed state to where I can't really move. I was completely drained. And she and her friend, quotations, went in the room, and I heard everything as she was cheating on me. It's stuff like that that kind of kills you, because if you believe something's going on and they make you to feel like you're the one that's just jealous and paranoid and makes you feel like you're a crazy person until you find out that you were right the entire time. And that does mentally destroy you. It really does.
It also just creates a lot of mental problems for the people you date afterwards, because you're so scared that someone's going to do it to you again. Because even in my relationship now, I'm engaged to be married next year. I still physically freak out if he wants to go out past a certain time at night, because as soon as me and this one person got a car, we would go to sleep together, and I'd wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning just from random like bad dreams or anxiety, and he'd be gone. And I found out every time he was doing that, he was going to cheat on me. Every single time he left the house at 1, 2 in the morning, saying he was going on a midnight drive to help him sleep, he was cheating on me every time. He actually ended up bringing the girl he cheated on me with to my apartment to pick his smell up.
Wow. And it's really sad. Our intuitions we should never ignore, because those intuitions are normally at least 95% accurate. At least they have been for me every single time. So with that, we're going to go to verbal abuse. And this one is obviously verbal, so your words and how they sting, how they can attack you, how they can open a wound, because words do have meaning. People always try to say, grow a pair. It's not that bad. But someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with and you love, and they attack you verbally, it does cut deep. What are your thoughts on this?
It very much can, especially when the words are about your mental health that you've told them about, and they're just like, they brush it off, or they don't really care. And I know from personal experience, with my ex-fiance, he would say some of the meanest things to me, and I'd still stay because I loved him. And I probably really shouldn't have, because some of the things he said to me, I can't even say on this podcast, because it was that vulgar or violent towards me. It got to the point where he even did some, he had branded me in a way. I have to get a cover-up tattoo on my thigh that I'm actually still working on, because he decided to literally tattoo his initial on me.
Wow. I don't even know what to say about that. That's kind of, wow. It, it's very sad how humans are so cruel. And I had my fair share of verbal abuse too. They would use my past against me. They would use my mental health against me as well, because I have severe anxiety and bipolar and severe depression as well, and PTSD. And most of that PTSD is from my childhood, but a lot of it also now is from my relationships. My ex-wife, she was very cruel verbally to me. She would say some of the worst things ever, even about my family, and my dumbass would stay. And I don't know why. I thought that, I believe in marriage is sacred, so And she was the first person I married, and I thought it would last forever just because of marriage. I was a naive, stupid little boy. And yeah, she was very, and not to mention, she was a pathological liar. So, so one quick story is when we lived in Florida. So I didn't have a car at this time because I sold it prior to this situation. So we would walk. We lived in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and we would walk down from Cocoa down to the Walmart. And, she was one of those people that believe that someone has to buy her something every single time she goes in the store. She was like a kid. And, we're trying to save up money so we can get a place, and we didn't really have much. I was the only one working. She wasn't. And she wanted a purse. And the purse was $80. We didn't have that kind of money. We were poor, and we barely had anything. I didn't have that good of a job at that time. And as our way back home, she did the silent treatment. She'd walk ahead really fast and angry. And I would walk behind her, be like, try to talk to her. And she would just ignore me. And then to the point where I annoy her enough, I guess, to talk, she would start spitting out cruel things. And then she would, when we got home, she would tell them, the people that we were living with, that I was abusive to her. Man, sometimes I wonder about people, like why they do these kind of things. Like, what is it that makes you treat someone that you're married to or someone that you claim to love the way you do? I don't get it. Do you?
No, because I can even think of a time when me and my ex-fiance, when I was trying to break up with him and he was making me feel like I was crazy, he started packing his stuff to go stay with either his sister or his mom or someone. And I was trying to talk to him and I barely touched his arm. I have a fear of the police because the type of job I want to go into, if I get arrested, my career is over before it even started. He threatened to call the police on me for assault for barely touching his arm. And I hadn't done anything to him at this point in time. I'd done everything for him. He moved down to the state that we're in now, Montana, with nothing other than a car that he ended up destroying. And I did everything. I was the only one working. Every time he would get a job, somehow, some way, he'd end up losing it. I was paying for everything, the bills, everything. I let his best friend move in with us. And it got to the point where they were picking at things that could have anything to do with my mental health. My weight, because I was bullied my entire childhood for my weight. My body type, just anything they could to make me feel like I was inadequate to them. And it got to me after a while, and I ended up making them leave. I finally did. And I stayed strong. I have not been back. I will not go back to him. Because it's not right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry you had to go through that. That's rough. So the last thing about the verbal abuse is, so my mom was a witness to this one. So the same girl that I was talking about at the dorm for my first show and everything. So I brought her over to my friends and to meet my mother and all. And she was having minor seizures. So I took her out to the car, drove her to the house so we can go to bed. Well, she didn't realize that my mother was sitting right there on the porch. She had the light off, and she was sitting there waiting. And as I was trying to help her out of the car, I opened the door. I went to help her out. She started screaming at me like a crazy woman. She didn't want my mom seeing her like this and blah, blah, blah. And I can't remember what else she said, but, let me tell you, after I got her in the bed and everything, my mom told me she is never to be here again. I don't like that crazy bitch. And she's not lying. She really was. But, it's really sad. Someone trying to help you and you go off on them like that. It made no sense to me. I still can't get over it, like figuring out why. But anyways, the last section we'll speak about is probably the worst one of them all. I think more women deal with this than any man does, but it doesn't take away that a man does deal with it. But physical abuse in relationships. As a child, I watched my mother be abused way too often. So I've never really been abused. I mean, I've been hit with one or two things, but full on physical abuse all the time, I never went through. How about you?
So I can't say that it was all the time, but I can say with the ex that I have been speaking about today, I do have pictures in my phone saved just in case the day ever comes that someone decides to take him to court of where he has left marks on me from physically smacking the absolute dog shit out of me. And just another thing that I didn't know could be considered physical abuse is that he did force me at one point to get the tattoo of his initial on my thigh that I have been in the process of covering up since I broke up with him. Because the color he chose a red. It's very hard to cover up a red tattoo. Very hard. And I have never met a guy like him. And I've been married too. I'm divorced currently. And my ex-husband cheated on me so much, but he had never once done any of the things that man had ever done to me. He may have let his mother mentally abuse me. He may have let his mother yell at me, but never once did he ever think about laying a hand on me like Zach did. That man put me through so much trauma to the point where I shy away from men I don't know because I'm scared, like, what the fuck are they going to do to me in the end?
It's interesting that you said that you shy away because I remember the first day meeting you at work too. I noticed when I walked through that back door for the office, your eyes widen open and you kind of took a step back, like what's going on? And I noticed that right away. I just kept going with what I had to do and tried to, not be too much in your space because I can recognize a little bit of that because my mother was similar way too. My mom, she doesn't even want to ever date again because every man has been abusive, and it's really sad. But speaking about that tattoo being forced, I would want to say maybe that's more of exploitation, maybe.
See, I'm not sure, because his sister had the tattoo gun. So we didn't go to a tattoo shop. He did it himself. So it wasn't like I went and got it done. It was never professionally done. It looks like absolute shit. And he also wanted to, at one point before I decided to leave him, he wanted to actually tattoo his whole name on my body. And I would not, it took a lot. That's how I ended up getting physically hit by him, because I wouldn't do it. And I have a picture on my phone of just a bright red handprint across my cheek because he decided that I was not doing something he wanted me to do. To him, I was working over 40 hours a week. I was taking care of the house, taking care of him and his best friend. And I used to have a nose ring on my right side. He hit me so hard he pulled my nose ring out.
Good grief. Ah, man. I don't even know what to say because I will never understand it. I was raised by my mother, so I'm a mama's boy. And she taught me how to treat a woman. And man, there's women that have angered me to the core, like any man that I would punch right in the throat. But man, I've never thought of ever hitting a woman, ever. Now, I mean, there could be, if I have to protect my life or my family, someone breaks in my home and they're a woman, yeah, I would, but I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. Why? Men, please explain this to me. Why do you think it is a cool thing to put your damn hands on a woman? You want to put your hands on somebody, you can come find me here in Great Falls, Montana, and I'll show you what a real man is. Don't put your hand on a woman. No reason to force them to do things. No reason to mentally abuse them, emotionally abuse them, verbally abuse them, exploit them, nothing. And that reminds me, we almost forgot one last thing. Exploitation. So yeah, that word, exploitation. So that is all about pretty much manipulating you into doing something, trying to get. So, for example, financial exploitation. You know, trying to make them feel guilty to give you money.
Making them pay for everything.
Making them pay for everything. You know, and yeah, I would say that tattoo as exploitation as well, forcing you to do it, making you feel guilty about not doing it and stuff like that. It's all part of manipulation. It's sad. I can't even put my brain to even come close to understanding why people are like this. Yeah, I think I'm out of words for everything, but do you have anything else to say about this topic?
Listen, man, woman, doesn't matter your gender. If you are getting emotionally, mentally, physically, verbally, or even exploitationally abused, find someone you feel comfortable with and tell them. Find a trusted adult if you're, younger, because it happens even in teen relationships. If you are older, find someone to go to. Get help, because it doesn't get better. It doesn't get easier. It doesn't get better for no one. It could possibly end in someone's death if you don't try to find that help. It could end in your own death. And that's something I had to realize. And that's something that I ended up, after I found out he was cheating, we ended up actually going to his sister's house. And then when I felt not as safe at his sister's house, we went to my parents' house. And that's when he finally admitted to cheating on me. That's when he finally admitted to everything. And that's when I made him leave my home. So just find the help.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of that, about ending in death, so I will note that my mother's best friend, she warned her for years. Everybody has, because she was with a abusive guy. And she stayed until the point where he actually hacked her up. And it's really sad. One last point I will make, and this one's specifically for the ladies. Coming from a man, if a man is mad because you will not have sex with them, or you say no, that is a man you need to run from right away. Don't even stick around. If a man truly respects you, a man truly loves you, the moment you say no, you don't want sex, they will not be upset. They will be understanding, and they will agree to it. If you tell a man that you want to wait for marriage for sex, that man, if he truly loves you, will wait. There is not a damn thing that a man won't do to be with somebody. And waiting on sex, that is one, if they truly love you. So with that being said, I want to say thank you guys for joining this podcast and keep supporting me. You can find me on buymeacoffee.com if you want to donate for support. Thank you so much, and next Tuesday, you'll have another episode.